Come on, we welcome you to our Friendship Journey podcast on tonight. So come on in, come on in, come on in. Woo. Yeah, no problem, no problem. And normally while they're coming up, I sometimes read their bio, but this time I'm going to let these two ladies just tell us some things about them. All right, there we go. Miss Savage. There you go, Myra. I love it.
Hi ladies.
Hi. We just just want to welcome you. And so while you're there and you're on, and we see your bios up, but just you tell us, who is Myra? You talk to us and talk to the people.
Oh, wow. Who is Myra? That's a loaded question. Myra is the daughter of two wonderful people. My mom and dad are incredible. I am a lover of music. I am a lover of people. I've tried my best not to start off that I'm a mom. I tried my best not to start off with that, right?
It's hard, though.
It's hard, but I am a proud mother of two. I have a son who's a senior at UNT, about to graduate this month. Yes. And I have a beautiful daughter in the 4th grade. That's me in a nutshell. So
you started over.
I did. They're 12 years apart. And so I had a built-in babysitter for a while, and he's gone now. So
yeah, I totally understand that. I did the same thing. I got an 18 and an 8-year-old, so I understand about the starting over and the live-in babysitter. They definitely missed. So I totally understand the starting over concept. But it's good to hear. One word that really jumped out to me is that you said something about people, and so we're gonna get back to that. But I definitely want Tia to come on and talk a little bit as well and tell us who she is. But that word "people," ladies, jumped out, because ain't that who we reaching? Mm-hmm. Ooh, that was a good word. Is Tia there? Is she able to come on and join us? No, she didn't make it. If not, we can go on. She's there. Okay. Just need a few seconds. Just a few seconds. No problem at all. I'm still just thinking about that people and how that relates to our friendship journey. Mm-hmm. What are we supposed to do?
You already dropping gems.
You just in the introduction. Yeah. Right. Amen is in.
Oh goodness. I mean, well, Casey knows that about me, and I think I get that from my dad. Honestly, my dad was one who was he'd help anyone out. And he was someone who would be out in the community 24/7, helping people, volunteering. And something that I think I just gravitated, because that's how I grew up. So, yeah.
Yeah, what's in you? It's already in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. What's in you come out of you. And that's so right. it's
absolutely. Mm-hmm. The good and the bad, right? We get the good and the bad, but that was definitely one of the beautiful things that they passed down to me. So. Yeah.
And you gotta shout them out for that. And I like that you started with them. Like you, I'm the daughter. Just showing your lineage, where you come from. Right. That's really important.
One of the things is about Myra. So I know you're having some difficulties bringing Tia on. I'll just kind of speak to Myra. So one of the reasons why I wanted Myra to be a guest today is oftentimes people always ask me, or mention to me like, hey, Casey, you inspired me, you influenced me to do something. But both Myra and Tia, but Myra specifically, as she mentioned, it was in the act of service. I met Myra volunteering. Mm-hmm. She and I both were doing Meals on Wheels, and we just started talking. And through the conversation, I was like, who are you? Like, tell me about you. And she was like, okay. So she started talking and stuff, and I was like, this is no joke. First time I met her, we were probably 10 minutes in a conversation, and I said, you're going to be my mentor. And she was like, huh?
She did.
Because if you think about it, she and I worked at the same companies, but our roles were different. My role may have been higher than hers at the time. And so she's looking at me like, no, you're going to be mine. And I said, no, you're going to be mine. And the reason why was it was built off of service. I was new to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I came from Houston. And in Houston, I gave. We served. My company, they did it because I was passionate about it. So we set up opportunities where the associates could get paid to go and volunteer, to give back. Mm-hmm. And so when I got here, I didn't have connections. I didn't know people. She was one of the first people I met. And I was like, hey, you're going to help me because you have what I don't have. And I find that it's really, really important as we think about a friendship journey to be able to look at women and not to be envious, comparing yourself to them, but to say, hey, you have something that I don't, and I'm woman enough to say, hey, I need to be connected to you to get some of it. So what are your thoughts on that, Myra?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think I know I would not be where I am had it not been for other women, period. Who came along, you know, when I was younger, just to give a little personal, when I was younger, my dad ended up raising me. And so to not have the mother figure actually in the home, you know, is hard for a young woman. Oh, there's Tia.
Hey.
And let me get over here. And so I've always looked to women for guidance, you know, for just a hand and for everything. And so when Casey said that, yeah, I did. I looked at her like, no, you're gonna be mine, and we've been each other, and we've been there for each other. In so many ways, we've had each other's back and given each other, you know, some advice and given each other the truth, and cheered each other on. And so that's the only way you're going to continue to grow and move on, by being there for each other and helping each other rather than looking at each other like, you know, like it's a competition.
Thank you. That was good, because when you think about, like she said, at the time she might have been at a higher position, but that didn't let her title dictate what she needed. Like that's the thing about women. Like if we can just learn how to work together even more, then we will be able to push each other up. And then it wasn't about you lower than me or anything like that. It's like, hey, I see that and I like it. I need that. I want that. You know what I'm saying? And for her to be able to identify that, and I know it was kind of awkward for you, but it was just like, oh, okay. And so hopefully, I'm hoping and I'm thinking that probably turned on a light bulb for you to realize, you know what? This is really how it should be. Not saying that it wasn't for you already, but that should have just been like another door kind of open. Like, wow, this is how life is supposed to be. And I think that is our goal and what we want to do with our friendship journey. No matter your differences, no matter your title, no matter how much you make, we come together for a purpose, and we should be able to grow and learn from one another. And so I really just thank you and Casey for just sharing that. We do want to get you to get in there, Tia. We thankful that you were able to get in and make it. Hello. And welcome to our friendship journey. We did get to know a little bit about Myra. So now we want to know just a little bit about you. Talk to us, Tia. Who is Tia Cole?
Hold on, we can't hear you.
Hold on 1 second. Let's see if we can. The volume. Are you muted? The devil.
All right, can you hear us?
Maybe she wants on the phone and on the computer. We should be good. Try one more time.
Can you hear us, Dr.
Oh, she got two things up going.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, she got to turn one of them off.
Or mute her.
Oh, yeah.
How that works. That's the way it goes.
We can't hear you though. No.
I'm glad we can read lips.
Can you hear me?
No. You know, we good at it. You know, we talking to each other without no new sound coming out.
Can you hear me on the laptop?
Yes.
Boss lady.
Perfect.
Here's the problem. I cannot hear you on the laptop.
Oh.
Can you hear us now?
I still have my phone on, so hopefully if the echo is not too bad,
Yeah.
I can hear you on the phone and talk to you on the laptop.
Yeah, scoot over.
Scoot over a little bit.
You're
Say
not
it again.
centered.
Scoot over a little bit.
To her right.
Go to your right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so Tia, can you hear us now? Can you tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. So my name is Tia Cole. I am from Nebraska. I am the owner of the Cole Lab, which is your development destination. We develop people and we develop programs. We focus on executive coaching. We focus on equity and inclusion work and really culturally responsive leadership practices. We work with individuals and organizations. Started this business in 2016, came here to Texas, this part of Texas, in 2016, and started teaching full-time at Tarrant County College, and then started to grow my business from there. Other than that, it's just me out here and just trying to make the best mark that I possibly can.
Awesome. Great to hear. And it seems like you're doing that because you're having these conferences where you are growing leaders. And so this is one of my kind of passions is leadership, because I know that that's the gift that God has given me. I haven't always accepted it though. Like I always was kind of like shying away, and I would push my sister that way, like, you're the leader, go. But I know that that's where I'm going. And so for you to have these things like conferences and things available for leadership, I'm super duper excited. Is she still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are also excited because we're wanting to bring something to the Metroplex that hasn't been done, but really to support people in a way that creates generational wealth, especially for those underrepresented communities that are overly represented in poverty and in cycles of lack of growth. And so we're really wanting to create things, experiences that can help any individual realize their greatest potential.
That's amazing. It is. Another word that I heard, ladies, what word did she say? She talked about she does people. So both people that Casey chose for tonight, they talked about how they're like for people. And so I'm excited. That was just a good plug right there.
That's great. So my Tia story. So going back to that same vein of wanting to get involved, I started looking at how do I get involved in Black organizations, because we understand Fort Worth is very diverse. And so I wanted to be connected to my people. And someone told me about the Black Chamber and the program. And I started emailing Tia probably a year before the program was even accepting applications. And I say, hey, Tia, I don't know how I get involved, but I think corporate and underserved communities should be married, and I want to help create change. And she was like, okay. And so I always tell them on the podcast, Tia, I'm pretty quiet. So if you don't know me, I don't talk a ton. And she'll attest to that. I would go into the courses and we would meet once a month, and I didn't talk. I just observed, I listened. If people talk to me, I would respond, but I didn't talk. It wasn't until after I connected with Tia personally. And now she's my family. Both her and I are very close friends and family, but I connected with Tia after because I realized, hey, God's taking me somewhere and I don't know how to get there. and she is the destination station. We're called that. And so she started doing personal coaching with me, and I believe that where I am right now, both professionally, entrepreneurially, spiritually, is because of these two women. Awesome. And that's the reason why I wanted both of them to come together, because they don't even know each other. But they are the reason that I am who I am before me. Because I was not, although I had the confidence and I knew I could do it, my circumstances when I met both of those ladies were counter to that. So I was being met with resistance, people really trying to sabotage me. And so I lost sight of who I was in the midst of that. And God sent these two ladies along my path to pour into me, encourage me, and to pick me up. And both of them said, do you know who you are? You gotta hold your head up. Do you know who you are? You gotta walk in who you are. Both of them. So ladies, thank you. I brought y'all here today to tell y'all that amongst my people. Appreciate y'all, because y'all are the reason in 2022 is go time.
Is
really-
and I'm excited to hear you say that, because I'm remembering the Casey that I met, and the Casey that I met would not be hosting a podcast. You know what I mean? Like absolutely amazing. And so, and that's the funny part about the work that I do, is that work then drives more work. And so when I see you, I'm like, okay, now I'm trying to be like Casey when I grow up. Like, we feed off of each other and encourage one another to step outside of our comfort zones and to do what we've been called to do. And I think you're a shining example of that. So I truly appreciate you acknowledging the work that we did together. You did most of the heavy lifting, but that it was meaningful for you.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Myra?
No, I was going to echo what Tia said. I mean, I tell you all the time now that, like, you know, I'm looking up to you. You're the one you came to me asking me to be your mentor, and I am looking to you all the time for guidance. I mean, I see such a big change in you and so much growth in you. And it's just exciting to see. It really is, because it's nothing but up for you, and you already know that, though.
And she definitely knows it. I believe she receives it and she knows it and all that good stuff. And that's how we were when. And so just a little background story on our friendship journey and these topics and these titles. And we were given these things that we want to bring to the world, bring to women, and share with them some different things and different topics for this year. And so this is one that Casey was passionate about. This is the one that she chose. This is the one that she had been praying over, businesses, careers, you know, all that entrepreneurship. And so when it was said, like, hey, we got to have guests for our section, she knew immediately, like, before I even finished my sentence, who she was going to get. And so we were like, what? Like, I mean, she was so passionate immediately. You know, our friends, we like, wow, like, she got some excitement about these ladies. So that made us excited, because we wanted to know who you were. How can we be a part? Let that oil pour over onto us as well, because the oil that you poured into her has already overflown onto us. So we wanted to share you ladies with all of our listeners, and you guys have shared so many nuggets talking about the things that women can do, what we can do to overcome, how we can meet our goals and our obstacles. And so I am just so excited. Like, I'm just like happy. Like, I'm being with pride over here. Like, it's exciting.
I have a question, and I want Michelle to jump in, because I know her and BoCC have corporate experience, but as you're climbing and you're thinking about career, you're thinking about business, and then you're thinking about friendships, how do y'all keep those intact? Because sometimes you're climbing and you're going to a place and you can't take everybody with you. So how do y'all balance all of that?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I definitely started from the bottom for sure in the corporate world, and still climbing. One thing that I try my best to do is stay connected back to the lover of people and relationships. Like, building genuine relationships with people, to me, matter in the corporate world, because you become so busy. You have your own thing going on. And for me, it's about, if I have genuine relationship with you, I'm going to stay connected one way or another. Casey and I may eventually go different ways. We probably will. And that should actually happen if we're growing. But I plan to absolutely stay connected with her, make sure she's good, make sure her career is going well, and her spirit as well. So for me, I'm all about genuine connection. Also, keep a calendar. So if I have for check-ins, because life gets really, really busy, and you can go months without talking to somebody. And so I try to keep stuff on my calendar to make sure, hey, I haven't checked in with this person in a long time. I need to reach out. So that's kind of what I do.
That's good, Myra. And I would add to that one, what I hear you saying is intentionality, right? Any relationship takes intentionality, even professional relationships, and making the choice to say, this matters to me, and so I'm going to create space for it. I'm going to put time on my calendar and schedule it once a month or once a quarter. I'm going to do these things to make sure that I'm nurturing these relationships. I would also say that as you move into the different avenues of your life, you want to be creating clear, I don't want to use the word because it has sort of a negative connotation, but you can place people in their spot in your life, and they don't have to move outside of that spot, right? If this person is a social friend but not a professional friend, that's okay, right? Or if this person is a specific, you add specific value in a specific avenue of your professional life, that's okay too, because it's not that you're leaving people behind. It's just that if it's not serving you, the relationship is not serving you, and or if you're not serving them, right? Because relationships should be reciprocal, then you're allowed to make a different choice. And I think we should stop thinking about it in a negative sense, because Myra said it exactly. She said, we may move apart, and in some ways we should, because we're growing different directions, and that's not a negative thing. So I think as we move to the next levels of our careers, intentionality, keep those relationships that matter and that are serving you and that you are serving that other person, and make space for it, prioritize around it, but then also think about your capacity and your balance and what relationships are going to move with you, and which ones you'll have to sort of put on the back burner and not prioritize, so to speak. It doesn't mean you don't love or care for that person, but it's no longer a service priority for your life.
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely.
Jump in.
Pretty much I have the same thoughts. I did work in corporate for about 25 years, until I'm not gonna say until I moved to Texas, because first thing I did was find another corporate job. When I moved to Texas, even though I had the intention of moving into teaching, but I've been able, like you said, it sounds bad, but really, what's it called? Yes, thank you. My friendship. So I have work friends and who I work with every single day. We go to lunch together, we talk, we share, we do all that. And then, like you said, once something else happens or you move on, those friendships kind of end, and that's okay, because that was okay for that season of my life. And then the next season changed. And then I had other work friends and things like that. And then when I moved to Texas, a lot of my friends kind of dropped along the way. So when you move into different seasons and God is taking you in different places, you have to be open to new experiences with different people. And it's okay. It's not a bad thing, because some people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Everybody's not a lifetime friend. Some people are seasonal, and that's okay.
And I'll say during the pandemic specifically, it really showed you how strong relationships, your certain relationships were with certain people, whether it was work, whether it was outside of work, because you couldn't connect face to face. You didn't have to see. I didn't have to see Casey every day, right? And speak to her. Or I didn't have to see so and so in the office and speak to them, because we were at home. And so you had to really work even harder to keep genuine friendships and relationships with people. And also, I'll say this for me, just in the corporate world that we specifically work in, it's not many people that look like me.
Right.
Okay.
Ooh, I've been there. Look, I'm the company name.
And so for me, like, you're gonna be my friend, and we gonna work this out. Because it's so important to see each other, to grow with each other, to cheer each other on in those spaces. Because there's days where you're just very exhausted. You're very exhausted. And she has definitely been someone that I can just talk to, or just close the office door and say, girl, I need you right now.
Right.
So,
and that was one of the questions I was going to ask too, and it kind of goes with what you were saying. Both of y'all kind of have run a team. Both of y'all have a team that you kind of that you kind of run. Have you ever, became friends with some of those people? And has there ever been like an issue where the person in your team either, did something wrong and you kind of said like, hey, we don't get along, but whatever happened, was there any conflict within your team? And how did you solve it? What did you do to say, okay, let's fix this? How did it work? Did they just leave your team? Or talk to me about the conflict that may have happened with you and your team that you run.
Sure. So I deal with about 10 different teams in any given day, because I've got 5 or 6 roles that I play at Tarrant County College. I've got my own business, and I have a team of 10 who work with me at the collab. And so conflict is inevitable. And I can speak to one specific situation where someone who I work with basically demonstrated a lack of integrity. And anybody who knows me knows that that's a major problem. But I have learned in my own personal growth that I can't control anybody but myself. And so with that situation with that person, they basically threw someone else under the bus and then lied and some other stuff, and it was out in the open. And so one, I'm going to acknowledge that it happened. So this happened. It wasn't okay that it happened, but then I can move on. So when this person reached out to me and said, so are y'all done with me? I said, well, no, we're still colleagues. Now I see you for who you are. So if that's who you are, now I know I'm on notice, but I will never disrespect you. I will never be rude to you. I will still be able to be civil and work with you. That very next morning, I actually had a joint presentation with that person. And so I had to move on, and I had to move on quickly, right? And I had to be professional because the organization for which we were presenting, they don't care about the drama. They care about the presentation. And so it takes a level of maturity, a level of self-awareness. I had to really quickly process what was upsetting me about the situation, how I was going to respond to it. And then I had to put that person on notice as well, because the person that's inside of me is not going to let, lies or anything like that ride. So I just said, hey, this was not okay. This is why it wasn't okay, but we can move on and be civil. We're all humans. And so that's how I try to handle most conflict. Now on my team, it's a little bit different, because if someone is way outside of our values, I can just let them go. You are not meeting the values of the collab, and so therefore you are not a good fit for this organization, because I own the company. But when I'm at other organizations, I have to work with who they hire, right? Not who I hire. So there's a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah. Them boss moves, I'm telling you.
I need that in writing so I can put it in the bylaws for the company. I need that verbiage. Appreciate that.
Oh, Myra, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I kind of echo what Tia said. I mean, it's all about maturity. If there's an issue going on, and it's between, a teammate or direct report, and you just got to handle it and confront it and move on. I become friends with even my clients, some of my clients, and yet you have to make sure you still have those boundaries, right? And that is understood, and the respect is still there within those lines of the role. But I think you can absolutely be friends to a point, just as long as there's respect, just as long as everybody understands the boundaries. I think it's totally fine. So, and when I have to deal with it, I confront it.
Spot on, straight up.
Just confront it and deal with it in a respectful way. But you're gonna know you can't treat me and talk to me any kind of way or disrespect me. You're gonna know that for sure.
And if you're a consistent person, it's not going to be a surprise, because you are who you are. The problem is when you're an inconsistent person. If you're a person who your values and or your personality changes based on who you're talking to or who you're with, you're going to have problems. But anybody who knows me knows my values. They know the things that trigger me, and they know how I'm going to respond. So you don't have to be worried that I'm going to start cussing you at work, because that's not the type of person I am, right? But you also know, which as he knew, that I'm not going to let something ride that's not, that is demonstrating a lack of integrity, which is why he reached out and was like, are you upset, right? So if you're consistent, then your response shouldn't be a surprise, but you should feel empowered to respond, because otherwise things are going to fester. You're still going to feel a type of way whether you speak on it or not. So let's put it out in the open. We want to adjust behaviors moving forward. Hopefully, if you're not that type of person, then we'll deal with that. But hopefully we can adjust behaviors moving forward and level set our expectations of one another. But that starts with the foundation of that relationship. From the beginning, you need to be consistent in who you are and in your values.
This is what I want to know.
Man, that was deep.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to know, right? We're minority women, right? Opportunities they don't come often for us. I think both of you women do this extremely well as far as being able to be selective of opportunities, but y'all make good decisions. When we are brought to the table, that's more so what I want to talk about, kind of being at the table. And when you get to the table, how do you respond when your friends or just relationships in general, they don't understand where you are? So it's almost that transition that we talked about earlier, but I think both of you have experience at being at the table, and sometimes y'all are the only ones there. So kind of talk to me that as it relates to friendship and career.
So yeah, being at the table. So I'll say this. Once again, being in the corporate world, you are definitely one of the only ones there. So in regards to friendships, there hasn't been a ton of friendships within my journey in career-wise. There's been some mentors, but there hasn't been a lot of, I can honestly say, a lot of true friendships along the way. Because I've been one of the only ones at the table. And when I'm at the table, though, I'm always authentic. Casey knows this. I am who I am. I don't change who I am at all. I come in, for example, with my braids and my blonde hair, and I say, "New hair, who this?"
Michelle.
And I bring my authentic self. But when it comes to friendships, if you're my friend, you're going to understand the table that I'm at. You're going to understand that things may change and we may not be able to talk as much or see each other as much. If you're my friend and you know me, you know that that's not going to change about me as far as who I am.
Yeah.
So if you feel some type of way about it, if you have an issue, then I don't know. Then maybe we really are one thing. Cool, to be honest with you. But I'm always my authentic self with everybody, whether I'm at the only one at the table or if I'm on a podcast or if I'm out on the street. So you're gonna get what you're gonna get. So friendships, if you're my friend, you know that.
That's good. I would also say that being a person of color, and Casey will recognize this because we talked about it in Paths Forward. Being a person of color at the table, you're always negotiating the I versus the we, right? It's who you are, what your needs are, what your goals are. But as a person of color, whether you like it or not, you're always representing every other person who looks like you, right?
Right.
You already have that on your shoulders. What you don't want to add to that is complicated friendships and relationships at work. And this is what I mean by that. We have this sort of false sense of loyalty, that loyalty and friendship, especially at work, means that you're going to co-sign on everything, including my bad decisions, meaning that you're going to make allowances for me even when I am not working to my best standard. And it means that you're going to promote me whenever I want to have something new, like this new position. You're going to have my back and say, yes, I should have it, even if I'm not the best equipped or the most equipped to do the job. That to me is not actual friendship, let alone being a good coworker. Because there's a difference between what's good for us and what's good for you, right? And then what's good for the people we're serving. And so if I'm looking at it as you're my friend, I don't want to put you in a position where you're not going to be your best self or that you're not prepared for. I don't want you out there looking bad. But also this organization, or in my case, my company, I don't want us out here looking bad. I can't have the collab stamp on your back and you out here looking a mess because you're my friend. I put you in a position of power. So anyone who knows me, goes back to what I said before, anyone who knows me knows that about me, that I'm going to be consistent, that I'm going to hold you to an equal standard of excellence. And that if something is not right for you, me, or us, then I'm going to say, love you, this ain't it. This ain't the one. Let's work on this first, or let's pick something else for you. But I think that's part of being a friend. If you're really someone's friend, is being honest with them.
That's good, Boston.
Oh, that's really good.
It really was. The key words that you ladies kept saying was consistency. Just knowing who you are and being that and being okay in your own skin. And I think that as women, sometimes we struggle with that. I think I have never really been in the corporate world, but for a little bit in my life. But that's still a struggle. Like we're trying to figure it out, especially I can imagine being Black women. You know, you're always trying to fit into somebody's box, and you're always trying to figure out, like, do I do too much here? Do I not talk about this? Like, you know, certain topics we shouldn't talk about, we shouldn't discuss. So I'm thankful that you ladies just share that you are always you, no matter, like you said, if I'm on a podcast, if I'm in front of my team at, you know, the company that I own, or if I'm working for the people that I work for, I'm always more authentic self. So I'm thankful that you ladies share that, because that's what we need to do. We definitely need to be authentic. That's one of my words. I know on my vision board was authentic. I want to be Brandy at all times. And so thank you, ladies, for sharing that. Did y'all have anything else? Any other questions? Did you get yours answered?
I want to say one thing. I wanted to say something about 2 points. One, I want to tell you is education is not different from corporate at all. It's still the same thing. I came into education thinking, "Ooh, finally, I'm going to be rewarded for me being good at my job." Not how I look, not who I know, not any of that. I'm just going to be rewarded for being a good teacher, and that doesn't happen. So it's the same. It's the same thing. Corporate and education is the same. It's who you know, not what you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how good you are. Poor people get promoted.
Yeah.
Every single day. Corporate and education.
You're right.
So that's the same. Let's get that out. I get it because I've worked in both. Just saying.
That's true.
But secondly, what I want to say, one of the scriptures that came to my mind when the ladies was talking, the word says, "In business be mean." And sometimes people have a hard time separating friendship from business.
Yeah.
And when you have those hard truths or those hard conversations and it's business, sometimes people take it personal because they feel like Tia said, you should have some sort of loyalty, you should have some sort of this, or you should say it in a different way. But I am one that separates business from personal. I'm not personally attacking you because I don't recommend you for this job. I'm like Tia said, I'm trying to save you.
Yeah.
So have you two ever been in a situation where you were friends with someone first and then they came into a business relationship? How did you handle that? Because it's different when you're not friends and then it's corporate and you become friends and then you have a hard conversation. But was it ever a situation where you were friendly with someone first and then you got into some type of work relationship and had to have a tough conversation?
Absolutely. With my company, some of my first independent contractors, I can't legally call them employees, but some of my first independent contractors were close friends of mine. One of my best friends is the events coordinator for the collab. I have to preface conversations that I have with her because I'm like you, clean lines. I can talk business and be straight at it. And then if we done with it, turn it off. And now we're talking about, girl, let's go have a drink. But when we're talking about business, we're talking about business. And so I've had to, in a couple of instances, preface the conversation and say, I need to be able to say to you what I need to say. This has nothing to do with me not loving you. This is just something I need you to do or improve on in order for us to move forward with this, whatever you're working on for the business. And so she'll say, okay, and acknowledge it. And then we'll move on. And I'll say, okay, this and this and this are not working. This is what I need you to do about it. I recognize that this is a challenge for you. I need you to work on it. And I have to do that as, you know, Tia Cole of the collab, separate and apart from Tia, your best friend. And I think that being able to be transparent and forthcoming in those instances where you're drawing the lines for the conversation. Hey, I'm here to talk to you about X. This is me wearing the hat of, you know, business owner, and it's not personal. And I do the same thing at TCC where I'll say, hey, you know, I like you. I really do. Can we talk about X, right? And I want to be able to be honest with you. Can I be honest with you? And sometimes I ask the question in order to prepare people for the conversation. And if they say no, I'll say, okay, if it's TCC, I'm gonna say, all right, I'm gonna move on. If it's the collab, I'm gonna say, well, guess what? We're gonna talk about your arrangement here at the collab then, because I need to be able to be honest with you for you to be on this team.
That's good.
Straight boss move. You are teaching me so much tonight.
Bossing up.
And yeah, for me, I've never actually had per se business with a friend, but I'll say, so my best friend for around 23 years, we work in two totally different sectors. She works in early childhood education and she's pretty high up as a director. And I'm in the corporate world. Well, about 3 years ago, our worlds kind of collided unexpectedly because I'm very heavily involved in the community, and I started getting more and more involved in early childhood because I was an advisory council for a nonprofit. And so I started going to different events, and she would be there. And one thing I know about her, she's extremely private. So she keeps work at work and home at home. And so people had, for about, I want to say the past 2 years now, 2-3 years, for the first 2 years, no one even knew that we were friends. Not just friends. I mean, we consider each other sisters.
Wow.
And we would go to these events, and I would have to make sure I wouldn't call her by her nickname, but call her by her real name. But we've done really well with that. We understood the lines. We understood that this is business, and then we talk about whatever when we need to talk about whatever. So much so that she had recommended me for a position for a nonprofit, about a year or so ago, which I was actually shocked, because one thing she and I both are very thoughtful about is ever recommending someone within our spaces. Very, very thoughtful about that. That rarely happens. And she did, and I eventually declined that. I felt like where I was at was the right place, but I have friends that have a lot of emotional intelligence and are very, very mature. And so we've always been able to kind of separate those things whenever we're in those spaces together. But I've never had to do what Tia did and actually like have actual together and say, look, let me put this hat on, and I need you to put that hat on too. So we kind of understood that.
I think I'm gonna use that with Tia. What Tia said. That we put this hat on to talk to you about this. Don't take it personal, but these
How
are
many
things
hats
that-
are you gonna have? Are you gonna have like one or two, or you gonna have like multiple ones?
I think I only need one hat.
One hat.
Yeah,
One hat.
I think I need to change that.
It's on it. It's on the way. One hat. One out next month. How many she got?
That was a good suggestion, just thinking about the different ways. So, yeah, because what Casey said to me is, can I be honest? And then she'll just go for like,
Right.
or she'll say, wait a minute. She's like, no, I don't want to say that. And I'm like, no, okay, well, and then the door is open. She just opens up the floodgates, and she's like, me, blah, 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 blah. And she just goes in. And so, no doubt. Yes. I understand the assignment.
I gotta be authentic, right? So I have to be authentically me. And I think the beauty of both of these ladies, they've seen me authentically me in any setting. And it's the same as y'all. Like, I am patient. Will I have to scale it back sometime for a personal thought? Yes. But how I'm gonna present myself and what I do, that's who I am. And I think that's what I got today is you have to show up as you in every setting. And you have to tailor it, but they need to be able to see who you are.
And I think especially as Black women, it's extremely important that we show up as who we are. I know specifically with, after George Floyd, the corporations, they all were so focused on diversity and let's do this and let's do that. And we need to hire more people of color and we need to do all this. And, they wanted to talk to Casey, wanted to talk to me and a couple other few of us there. And one thing that I told them, I said, this is great. This is great that you guys want to have these discussions. It's great that you want to bring, people of color along internally. However, do not expect them to be a Myra. Do not expect them to be a Casey or whatever, because because a lot of times in those spaces, they expect to like replicate who you are. Like you have kind of like, loosely, I want to say token people.
Yes.
But they expect to replicate that. And I would tell them, no, they're going to be different, just like y'all are different. And so for me, it's important that we absolutely show up as who we are. And then whoever comes along with us, they do the same thing. So they know that we are going to be who we are regardless. That is so important to me in the corporate world. So
yeah.
That's good. And to your point, when you've met a person, especially a person of color or any person, you've literally met one person. So even though we get lumped together, every one of our experiences are not the same. We will have experiences, we'll have cultural identity that's shared, but we are still individuals. And I think the more that we lean into our individuality, the more that we can start to train people unfamiliar with recognizing that individuality, that it exists and how to handle it, right? But if we all try to be the same, then we're really just perpetuating the system that forces us to be recognized as the same, right? And so I think you're right in that we need to make sure that we are showing up as ourselves, and doing so, of course, with integrity and intentionality, but doing so in a way that says, I am an individual person who is valuable because of who I am and not just what I look like in this space.
Oh, wow.
That'll preach right
Yes.
there. That'll preach right there.
Yeah, that's good.
That was good. Ladies, look, we can talk to you all night long. I'm
Might
talking
have a
about
part two.
Yeah, it seems like we need one.
I'll bring y'all back.
Yeah, bring it back.
Bring it
Because
back.
it was just such a good time. Like, it's almost 8 o'clock already. Like, y'all passed our 45-minute podcast time. Look. And so I'm just excited for all the information that I heard tonight. I'm excited about what's to come. The Cole Lab. Look for some things from us. You may be seeing one or two of us in the Cole Lab conference this year. Also, you ladies, yes, we want to be forever connected to you. I know we connected to KC, but now we want you definitely to be connected to our friendship journey. So we just want to thank you for joining us on tonight, and thank you for just sharing and being your authentic self tonight.
I just
Love y'all.
I just want to
Appreciate y'all
say this
for coming.
really quick. Like the way Casey spoke about both of you guys, I know you guys have been knowing her for a while. So she's a hard shell, she's a hard nut to crack. Like you can't.
Everybody, yeah, that's her.
So I heard her speak so highly of both of you and how she was open to both of you pouring into her. It was like immediately, I was like all ears, because it was like immediate, like, okay, I need to hear what they're saying, because she doesn't do that. She doesn't open up to others. So that just spoke volumes to me about you two. It's like, I don't even know y'all, but I trust you.
Yeah.
That's also.
Think about the one thing that they had.
Yes.
Y'all talked about it. Their heart.
Yeah.
I always look at people's heart,
Yeah.
because your heart is the intention of who you are, and they both have a heart to serve, and so it's very selfless, and it's always about the other person. So everything they said was they think about people, they're intentional and thoughtful.
Yeah.
That's who I am. So I gravitate to people that are similar. But appreciate y'all, love y'all.
Love you so much.
And Myra was being modest. Myra is the way to build the generational wealth, because she is the fiduciary administrator officer for accounts. So when people want to set up trust funds, they set it up with her. So she is in here being modest about this generational wealth, but she's the vehicle. She's the expert in how to do that. So appreciate both of you ladies. Love y'all a ton.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining. Awesome.
Had a great time.
What's back? Definitely.
Definitely. We're looking forward to it because I got to hear more about this generational wealth.
Yes.
We need more.
We can talk about it.
That's what we try to do around here too.
Yes.
Tia, she's great at helping us get organized. So I'm not a writer, I don't do that. But I went through a session with Tia, Planning a Better Life, and she helps you create that. How do you get your journal? How you organize your thoughts and how you plan. And as a result, I was able to start 3 businesses. So shout out to you, boss lady.
Thank you. We love y'all, ladies, but we have to get out of